What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pod and Play here on youtube.com/ngrradio and ngrradio.com. I'm Corey and joined by the black suit Spider-Man.
No, I like Blacktacular.
The Blacktacular Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Eddie V.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so I'm at another area, and I don't know how to duck as Spider-Man, apparently. Because I do not know what I'm supposed to do, apparently. I just really suck at this game.
Well, yes, everybody, we are playing the Amazing Spider-Man or Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. This is by Insomniac.
Yeah, definitely not the Amazing Spider-Man.
This is one of Sony's exclusives.
Anything you can do?
Yep, developed by Insomniac Games, for those of you who enjoy Ratchet and Clank or Xbox One's Sunset Overdrive. It's by them. So
Yes.
move onto the ceiling. I am moving to the ceiling, but you don't crawl the way I want you to, Spider-Man.
Yes. Oh. So yeah, we are traversing the land and fighting crime.
Yeah, if you are watching right now, I'm following Officer Davis around this shipyard, and I'm trying to locate something from Wilson Fisk's armory. So, yeah.
Well, Corey, I gotta ask you, what was your thoughts when they first announced this? Like when they showed it off?
I mean, I wasn't I was surprised. I mean, when Activision lost the Marvel license or stopped doing the Marvel license, I had a feeling that Spider-Man was going to revert back to Sony just because they have the movie license. But
Yes.
it actually turns out that that's not even the case either, where it was just a deal that Marvel went to Insomniac and said, you know, make us a Marvel game, and you know they chose Spider-Man, and Sony was a publishing partner that they, you know, clearly Insomniac's they are heavily involved with Sony in a lot of ways in terms of, you know, Ratchet and Clank, and jeez, I don't even remember how to play this game.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, circles dodge. And you know, they just became partners, you know. It's
Yeah, it was.
sorry, I'm in the middle of a fight and I'm almost dead, which is not great.
It was something interesting to see that Insomniac got this game. I mean, got this license to make this game, because we knew that Marvel and Disney, Disney pretty much in general was getting kind of out the video game business after we seeing their game and stuff.
You mean like with Disney Infinity, like going out of business or whatever? Going out of canceling it? Going out of business. It's not a store, it's a game. Yeah, you know, I mean, Disney, I mean, I think Marvel has pretty much does their own thing when it comes to games. I mean, I know they're owned by Disney, but they have the Marvel Games brand. So, I mean, like, I really think, like, they have their own say in what they... Oh, I died. Whoops. I'm not very good at this game, by the way, guys, so I might die a few times. And you know, Marvel probably saw what they did with Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive specifically because of the movement and stuff, and I think they wanted to see what Insomniac could do with a Marvel license, and clearly Spider-Man is like the go-to for them, right, in terms of movement, cool gadgets. Maybe, you know, I think Insomniac's really known for some wacky guns and stuff, but
Yes.
But, you know, in terms of just they got the movement so right in Sunset Overdrive, and they needed this. They needed this win, right? And you know, Spider-Man by no means is a perfect game, but it's a fun game, right? I think when you think of Spider-Man, you think of fun, and Insomniac knows how to make fun games, especially traversal and fighting and that type of thing. So they made that really awesome Ratchet and Clank kind of whatever. It was kind of like a remake / reboot of the first game, and that was really well received. And you know, Sunset Overdrive, we really liked that game. I know not really a lot of people played it because of its exclusivity of Xbox One and new IP. Like it just kind of all mixed together as like this. I don't know. It just didn't really turn out that well for them. But you know, seeing Marvel come to them, I think was a smart move. And like I said, they gave them a choice of what Marvel hero to pick, and you know, Spider-Man is a clear choice for them that works really well. And you know, now we're seeing that Iron Man VR game, which by all accounts is actually really well done as well. I think Marvel is doing a decent job of vetting their developers before they let them work on a license. And Spider-Man's proof of that. And you know, now this PSVR game, the Iron Man game, is supposedly really well done. I actually can't wait to. Guess I don't.
Well, yeah, the Spider-Man game, or like Marvel's business into doing video games, has kind of been on and off in a sense with me.
I mean, not every Spider-Man's been great, right? There's been some hits, some misses. I think a lot of people look at Spider-Man 2 on PS2 and GameCube as like the Spider-Man game. The Neversoft game for PS1, I think a lot of people look at as super well done too. I don't know if it's aged well or not, but this is not going well.
And I'm back.
There we go. Okay, sorry, I'm fighting 3 guys in an ice cream truck, and it's just not really going well. Jeez. That's an oil tanker. Nailed it. Ooh, that guy almost died. And you know, I think Ultimate Spider-Man for GameCube and PS2 and Xbox was the cell shaded one. Was done pretty well. I think a lot of people like that game. They made a couple amazing Spider-Man games, which were not great, and you know, I think this is just a return to form of like, this is a good what do you call a good baseline for it, sequels to come, you know. So I think it looks great. I think Spider-Man looks great. I think the world is interesting enough. You know, some of the side quests are kind of samey, and the collectibles are whatever, and some of the
We've now identified
side events are kind of meh at best. But I think they tell a really interesting story so far, and you know, I'm not clearly we're not very far, or I'm not very far at least, but I think it's interesting enough. I think a lot of people who are into Spider-Man really appreciated the different take on the character. So that's kind of my 2 cents. What do you? I didn't really mean to cut you off when you were talking about Spider-Man earlier, or the early Spider-Man stuff. But what do you? What is your Spider-Man history, Ed?
With my Spider-Man, I remember playing a little bit of it on the Atari. Yes, everybody was going far back. But also kind of seeing it in the arcades and stuff. My actual first Spider-Man game that I got was for the GameCube. It was the movie version. So I ended up getting it there, and that was kind of like the only Spider-Man game that I got. And I just didn't really get into some of the Marvel games and the rest of the Spider-Man games. I love the cartoon and I love some of the movies, but it was just like, this is not hitting me. Like some people have. So like it's been a long time for me getting into a Spider-Man game. So when I found out Insomniac was doing it, I ended up getting the game here because like I said, I support Insomniac. I love how they design their games. They really make great games. So I kind of wanted to see what they had to offer. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not really a big Spider-Man guy either. Like I'm just not. I never have been. I'm more of an X-Men sort of guy, and you know, with the recent Marvel movies and stuff, I've kind of grown into like a Captain America guy. But you know, Spider-Man's never really been a thing for me. You know, I enjoyed the movies, whatever, they were fine. But I've never really been a big Spider-Man guy. But in terms of games, I think that this is at the top of the list of being one of the better Spider-Man games. So, I mean, I think the swinging feels good. I think the combat feels good.
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to track down some
you know, just in
items
terms
that
of
were
my
accidentally
history with
picked up from a
Spider-Man,
dumpster
it's
outside
never
my
really been anything.
hang on.
yeah, I'm always been a DC fan.
64476.
And so you know, when it comes to Marvel, it was, you know,
Wait, please.
it
This is
was
important.
game.
Can you at least tell me
When
what
it comes
the
to
truck is?
Marvel, it comes to like characters like Punisher or Iron Fist and stuff like that kind of haven't been made a lot. Like I haven't seen a lot of people make a lot of games. I think the Punisher has one game.
I honestly don't know about the Punisher. Like I think they had that PS3, what, Punisher Warzone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the only Punisher. My whole thing with Marvel games was X-Men Legends on GameCube, and then Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which ironically we're getting in a couple months for Switch as of the time of this posting. So I'm actually really excited for that because the X-Men and X-Force are all in it, and man, I can't wait for that. I'm really excited for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I know it's a Switch exclusive, and you know, I really like the first two. I played the first one on Wii, which might not have been the best idea. I mean, it was an action RPG, so it really didn't matter. But you know, X-Men Legends on GameCube was awesome, which is kind of where that Ultimate Alliance style game kind of came from. So, but man, that was really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, of course it's locked.
The reveal of it at the Game Awards for Ultimate Alliance, everybody's just like, "What the world is this?" You think it's one thing, like we all thought it was a Telltale game, and come to find out, no, it's
Well, I honestly thought it was that mobile fighting game that's been
And see, I didn't know there was a mobile fighting game.
Yeah, it's like Marvel Strike Force, I think is what it's called, and it's a mobile fighting game. I really don't know how to explain it except for that it's a mobile fighting game, and yeah, there's a lot of characters in it. So I know they just added Captain Marvel because of the movies, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the. How do I get in here? This game does not do a good job of telling you where to go. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm just dumb. Oh, okay. How am I supposed to find that little vent in the side of this giant building?
It's not really breaking and entering if I don't break anything, right?
Anyways,
Yeah, at the moment I'm just like, oh, okay.
sorry, I'm just tired, and we're trying to get these recordings done so we can finish out this season. We're recording all the episodes out of order. Jason was supposed to record with us tonight, but he just had his baby, so congratulations to Jason.
No need to panic. Maybe they haven't dumped the
For those who
trash
don't
yet.
listen and Nerds Gone Platinum, you should. He's the host, and he just had a baby.
Okay. Time
Yes,
to panic.
Amelia.
So, congratulations to
Sorry,
the happy
is there
family.
Any chance the truck wasn't at the garage?
We missed you on this episode, so anybody who's listening to later episodes of Pod and Play,
headed there now.
disregard the sentences where I say I'm glad everybody was involved, because not everyone's involved.
There are some changes.
Yeah, we made some big changes post plans, and life happens, and when this isn't the only thing that you do, this is some things change. So, but we've still had a pretty good season.
Yes.
I'm actually really excited for next season, but we'll get there when we get there. There we go. Okay. I don't remember any of what any of the buttons do. Is that bad?
Hey,
Sorry,
it's a
I'll
long
just swing.
shot, but sometimes the guys stop for pizza before they drop off.
Really? I'll check out the pizza shop.
So yeah, but
Any
anyways,
idea what's
X-Men Legends. If you guys haven't played those games and you have a PS2 or a GameCube lying around, I highly recommend you look those games up.
Oh,
They're just X-Men action RPGs. Similar.
Larry's?
They're like really light versions of Diablo, but with X-Men characters.
Yeah.
And Marvel
I think I see
Ultimate
the truck.
Alliance is basically the
Thanks,
same
Eddie.
thing. So
Should be some trucks close by.
yeah, I found the dump truck. So,
Nope, stuff's not here. There has to be another truck
There's a
around.
lot of training for this game. It's like, okay. Yeah, but
there's a teddy bear in this dump truck. I don't know how I feel about that.
yeah. See, that's why I probably got to start this game over from the beginning, because it's just like,
Yeah, see, I would, but
you're far enough.
I'm far enough to cause I already got a lot of the collectibles, so I'm like, I don't really want to redo that, because I made a list of like 5 games I want to platinum this year, and Spider-Man is one of them. But I don't.
Yeah,
know.
I heard it's
No
an easy
sign of my
kind of
stuff.
it's an easy platinum for
Yeah,
people.
it takes like 20-ish hours.
Eddie,
I already
my only
got all the
hope.
collectibles and stuff.
Not there either, huh?
You
so
sure they were
we'll
around
see,
here?
But
Well, the guys might have switched routes
Yeah,
due to the
well,
upcoming Osborne rally. If your pickup was on Route 35, they'd be dropping off at the
search the trash
incinerator
trucks.
right
I
now.
already searched the trash
Incinerator?
trucks.
Over by Manhattan
Is there another
Bridge.
one?
Better hustle.
Get to the incinerator. That sounds like a terrible idea. But anyways, Ed, there are a few Marvel games on the horizon, and hopefully some DC ones. There's been a few rumors about a new Batman game coming from Rocksteady, which I'd be alright with. I mean, I know they've done a lot of Batman recently, but hopefully it would be like a different take than the Arkham, because I think
There's the
maybe that's what they're
incinerator.
tired of, is
Hope I'm
just
not
that
too late.
Arkham style take of
Uh-oh, looks like trouble.
Batman. So
Yeah. Well, I know by the time you guys see this, Squaresoft has taken Sony's place for E3, so they're supposed to be having like their showcase there. And I kind of wonder, will we finally get that Square Enix Marvel game
This gang's been
that
terrorizing
the
people
Avengers
are,
game.
yeah.
There's probably more of them on the way.
Yeah,
keep an
which
eye
I
out.
think
Hey,
they
What if I
wanted
look around
to
for some
get
personal items?
Endgame and Spider-Man
Sure,
out of the
how
way.
bad?
Spider-Man
I gotta
2,
go file an incident report.
which as of
There's something
by the
there.
time this episode comes
Move
out,
these
it's
bags
actually a
out of the
pretty
way.
good indication of Endgame. This is pretty good timing on our part, where Endgame is actually coming out.
That's it.
The final MCU Infinity Saga movie It's not the last
Please be
MCU
here,
movie,
please
but
be
it's
here.
one of the last of the Infinity Saga. So, well, actually, I think
Hope it still
Spider-Man 2
works.
is technically the end, but who's counting, right?
Right.
Phew, looks like everything's here.
I don't know.
An old gadget
I
prototype.
wish, like, I
Looks
wish I
kinda
was
awesome.
more into the Marvel
did I
Cinematic
ever
Universe
finish
than
it?
I was.
I think I can make this
I like
work.
the idea of it, and I like the characters, and I like, you know, just watching them interact. But like, I watched Infinity War, and I was like, man, this is so long. I was like, why is it so long?
Got it.
You know, like
Look.
I
It's that guy.
don't know why it's so long.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I know why it's long, but it didn't really need to be that long. But I'm sure. Am I not pressing it? Man, I am like. Did I mess something up?
I don't think so.
I swear I was like. I got another trophy. I don't know what it is, but I did it. But yeah, look, I'll watch Endgame when it comes to Disney Plus.
Okay,
I guess
well,
is
this
what I'm
night isn't
saying.
quite going as planned.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Where am I gonna sleep?
something I'm really interested in
try
watching,
MJ's.
but I know Friday morning, as soon as I wake up, it'll be spoiled for me, and you know, I'll know what happens, and I'll watch it when it comes to Disney Plus. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I wish I was more into, and I'm just I don't know if it's because I don't have the time or because like I'm just genuinely not interested. But I don't know because I haven't really put the time in to see if I am interested or not. But one is
Let's see.
the Marvel Universe. Star Wars is another one that I wish I was interested in, but I'm just like I like the idea of Star Wars, but just watching
in the neighborhood and
the movies is just kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. Like, does that make me a bad nerd if I just don't like a lot of things that other people like or say I'm supposed to like? Because like
Why
it
am I
just
making this such a
like
big deal?
Game of Thrones right now is another example,
We're
right?
just
The
friends,
final
right?
season's happening right
Friends
now,
crash on each other's couches
and it's
all
all
the time.
everybody and
It's not
anybody's
weird or
talking about.
anything.
I,
Couch.
And I've encountered more
MJ's
people.
couch.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I've encountered it every time Game of Thrones comes back. But like every time somebody is like, "Did you watch last night's Game of Thrones?" I say I don't watch Game of Thrones. Like they're like genuinely mad at me that I don't watch the show, and I'm like, "Look, I'm glad you enjoy the show, but how does me not watching it affect you? You know, like why does this hurt you so bad that I don't watch your favorite show?"
because they
Looks like
they
MJ's
can't
story
talk
just
to
got
you.
published.
They can't talk to no one else
Think I'll
about
find
it,
somewhere else to stay.
and because of the
Really
stuff,
busy with work.
I guess you do that would be a part of it. But it's just like
I wish Harry was.
I
in
find
town. I
Game
could
of
crash
Thrones
with
kind of
him.
boring.
Yeah, I mean, like
You know, it's just like
I mean, I'm the same way, right? Like I just don't care about that stuff, and like I just don't care, you know? Like and it's not because
like
I
your
think the
voicemail.
show is bad or anything.
Number's blocked
It's just not for me, you know?
Hey there, Spider.
Like things can be
Long time no.
good and not for you, right?
Right.
We've talked about that several times across a lot of shows and stuff that we do here, right? It's like there are some things that aren't going to be for you, and that's okay, right? And like maybe the superhero stuff, maybe it's not for me per se. Like some of the stuff I watch, like I really like the Captain America movies, but not because they're Captain America movies. It's because they're like cool thriller heist, some or not heist, but like thrillers, like action thrillers, you know? I liked Ant-Man a lot because it was like a heist movie. It was cool.
Right.
But like I did not care for Doctor Strange, and I know we've talked extensively about Black Panther, and I didn't care about Black Panther. I thought it was an okay movie that I probably won't watch again.
same here. I thought it was okay. It wasn't.
But Ed, you're black. You're supposed to love the movie.
that doesn't mean nothing. Just because a movie's based on my race or something doesn't mean I have to like it or anything.
And I didn't mean that in like a derogatory sense.
Oh no,
right?
no.
I just mean like
trust me, there's people
like when people oh sorry.
Oh, but that's what people of my own race feel like. It's just like, you know, because it's a movie that's catering to African Americans that we're supposed to automatically like it. And it's just like, no, if something is catered to me and it's done terrible in a sense, what does that say?
Yeah.
That I'm supposed to enjoy movies that that are not good because they're featuring a black protagonist or something like that, or it takes place in here? Just like, no.
And like I don't want to be like, I don't know if this sounds rude or whatever, but like the way people talk to me about Game of Thrones, I'm sure people have said something to you about Black Panther at some point, just because, you know, you're African American and you're supposed to like the movie because it pays homage to your your background and stuff, right?
Right.
Like I'm sure somebody has said that to you at some point.
Black cat.
Well,
Don't tell me she's scoping
not
out
really.
this
I've just seen a lot of people go all crazy about it, like, oh, it's so good, and they look, and I'm just like, okay, yes, it's good,
Anything
but
got a place.
but what about movies that I've been talking about that people haven't seen? That doesn't care to black people. You know,
wants me to
like
find
I
something.
always rant about
Let me do it
Punisher
harder.
Warzone. I love that movie. But then it's all these negative comments and stuff about the movie, and it's just like, well, what context did you see it in? And not just seeing it as a bad movie or something like that,
One of her
because
cats.
you know,
She packs those with range extenders.
Punisher Warzone to me is an artistic, stylish movie. You know, it's bloody and it's supposed to be bloody, but
Alicia's
why are
too
we
smart
not
to be
talking
putting
about
herself
that?
at
I
risk like
find
this.
more entertainment
She
in
must be
that
desperate
than
for some
I
reason.
do Black
Better keep an
Panther.
eye out.
Black Panther has a lot of cliches and paint by the number moments and stuff. And it's just like, well, is that what I'm supposed to like? I'm like, I want something that feels original, that's outlandish at times, and just feels different. And I sometimes don't feel like, you know, movies that's about my race or something sometimes does that. Like, there's so many points and paint by the numbers
Hey,
stuff
Yuri,
to it. It's just
we
like,
still have Black
ugh.
Cat's suit and equipment
You
in the
know,
evidence lockup,
I've seen
right?
and done this before. Like, can someone like do
Maybe.
something different?
Just double check.
You know.
and let me know if her gear is still there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Black Panther is bad or anything. It's just I was seeing it. I was like, that was a good. It was a well-made movie. People can enjoy it,
Hey, May.
but I'm just like,
what's up?
okay,
I thought we were gonna meet
you
up
guys
for
like
tonight.
Black Panther. Okay, now go watch Punisher
sorry, I
Warzone.
forgot.
Oh, it's
been
it
a
don't
hard
have
day.
nothing to deal with
Everyone's
black
running at the
people
lab.
or about it,
Oh,
so you're not
sure.
gonna watch it.
I'm sorry.
And it's just like, well,
I also
you
kinda got evicted
you
from my
can't
apartment.
say all of these things to me because a movie's just based on race sometimes.
Actually, no.
Like, I kind of want
Not
you to
really.
see
I
something
hate to ask,
artistic.
but
I kind of want to see
any
you
chance you have room at the shelter?
and
Of
see you
course.
talk about
Feel
movies
free to
that
come
not
to my office.
not everybody's gonna be talking about.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, and with some comic book movies, a lot of them, yes, are paint by the numbers. You know, we're expecting to see.
Most of them,
Sorry about
like
that.
Doctor
What was I
Doctor
saying?
Strange, for
Oh, yeah.
example, was
I know.
a straight ripoff
Even
of
doctors
freaking
apart.
Iron Man.
Got roped into
It was
running
the
jobs
same
for the
movie.
demons.
Right.
Like, I mean, except for like all the like the world bending stuff and
That'd be
moving
bad
through
enough.
like
Hope it's not
portals
something
and
worse.
stuff. Like the origin is the same thing, where like he's like a brilliant, well, he's a doctor and a scientist, whatever. But he gets you know, brutally injured, and he has to become a humble man and to become the superhero. You know, like it's the same movie.
Right.
And I'm not taking away anything because like I think I like that first Iron Man movie a lot, but like when I was watching Doctor Strange just to get caught up on the Marvel stuff, I was like, I feel like I've seen this movie before. It's like Iron Man meets Inception is basically what it was. And like
All right.
I didn't really care for Inception that much either, but I'm also am not a cinema buff. You know, like I like to go to the when I watch TV and movies and stuff. I like to watch stuff and tune out, right? Like I'm not going to the movies to pay attention or to have to like solve puzzles or anything. I want to watch stuff blow up. I want to watch people beat each other up. And you know, like that sounds dumb and ridiculous, but like that's just the type of movie person that I am, right? Like I like Indiana Jones, I like Ninja Turtles, I like 007. Like those are the types of movies that I like. And yeah, I like some of the Marvel stuff, like I said earlier. Like I really like the first two Captain America movies. I thought Thor Ragnarok was pretty decent. You know, Iron Man 1 is pretty good. But like I'm not going to sit here and pretend that every Marvel movie that comes out is the best Marvel movie ever, right? I said on an episode of Nerds Gone Rogue, I thought, and again, I don't know if it's because like I had it spoiled for me or whatever, but like when I was watching Infinity War, like I was not hooked at all. Like nothing about that movie grabbed me. I was kind of bored like partway through it, you know? Right. And like I think it's just because A, the movie's almost 3 hours long, but B, like they're jumping around so much that it's like, why do I care what's going on when in 30 seconds something different's going to be happening?
Right. There were just like stupid decisions made that the writer put in to make the movie feel longer. And sometimes I feel like, okay, you're just pandering now.
Like,
because
does Endgame really need to be 3 hours? You know, like everybody's saying, "Oh man, it's 3 hours and 2 minutes." Does it need to be that long? Like, you couldn't have just made it like 2 hours. And like, look, the Russo brothers were charged with an impossible task, was to bring all of these movies together into one cohesive end, right? Like, that is a monumental and almost incredibly impossible task, and by all accounts so far, like they did it, right? But like, to steal a quote from the movie, what did it cost, right? It's like, this is like I don't know, man, like a 3 hour movie is way too long for me. Like I
taking better care
as somebody who likes The Dark Knight, for example, that movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I really like that movie a lot, but it is way too long. You know, there's that movie is real long.
Yeah.
So
Dark Knight was Dark Knight the second movie?
Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
It's
but
Ed's least favorite of the Batman movies.
Oh well,
Ed's a Batman Forever kind of guy. He likes a
little...
no.
No.
He likes a little Jim Carrey Riddler.
No. That movie was to stay in the box that it came in. No, it's just that I think sometimes with comic book movies that, of course, we want plot, you know, we go there for the action. We want things to be balanced. And like something like Ant-Man felt balanced, like the first movie. You know, Captain America, the second movie I thought was better. The first one was, I fell asleep so many times. But it's just like you kind of got to find a balance of action and dialogue and plot. You know, like you got some funny moments, you're gonna have some serious moments, but like your action has to be well choreographed to keep me interested, you know. And I think that's why I like Punisher Warzone. Like when I say that it's an artistic movie and it has like stylistic action, it's because everything in that feels creative and well thought of. And it's just like you're so into it that you don't recognize the time. It's insane. It's outlandish, but Punisher is an insane and outlandish character. The premise is. So do it in a really stylistic way. And I think that's why when I look at some of the Marvel movies, and even with the DC, like I love Suicide Squad. I feel like Suicide Squad had that action and had that style. It had something to it that I was just like, I'm into this.
Oscar award winning Suicide Squad.
Man of Steel had that same kind of feel to me. It's just like there was a balance in there that like just had me like, wow. It did nothing in that felt paint by the numbers. You know, I was into it. I could, you know, it just had something that I would like, that I personally would like.
I can't take this.
You know, it's not for everybody or anything, but it was just something that I thoroughly enjoyed and that I liked.
Just ask for help next time.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't really talked more about the Spider-Man game, but I'm like,
I mean, it's really just whatever, you know. I mean, this is pod and play. We talk. I mean, we're on the subject of superhero stuff, right? And
Sorry
like,
to interrupt. Just wanted to let you know I'm
because
headed out of town.
this is the thing about it with Marvel video games.
Really don't know.
It may be for people who are really into comics and collectors and stuff.
Please take care of this place. It represents the best part of me.
They're great games. Well, some of them are. And
well, I guess I better get busy.
With this game, like I stated earlier, that because it comes from Insomniac, there were a lot of talk for it. You know, there were a lot of adults and people who don't collect comics or don't really talk about comic stuff really into this game.
I mean, I think a lot of people were like, even if you aren't a Spider-Man fan, like I think the PlayStation community in general was excited because they were getting an exclusive game and coming after the you know, the great exclusives like Horizon and God of War and, you know, Detroit on a lesser extent, but like Sony was on a roll of, you know, quote unquote great exclusives, and this was next in line, and I think people were excited that they were getting a great exclusive out of Insomniac again. And
but it's kind of this is kind of the sense that I feel like it's unfair to Microsoft.
I agree. I think Sunset Overdrive was awesome, and I think it deserves way more praise than it got. But you know that right now, like Insomniac is known for Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man, and it's sad that they're not known for Sunset Overdrive and Resistance. You know.
But see, I think that's when I think that's where Resistance come in too. It's like. And it's not the Sony fan. I won't blame the Sony fan base, but there was a time that because of all the stuff that Microsoft announced when Xbox One first came out, there was a vocal anger from players, and so people held onto that vocal anger throughout this generation. And so what they did was that they have a viewpoint in the saying about Microsoft.
Well, some people still think the Xbox One you still have to be connected all the time online. Like some people still think that.
Right, and people feel like because of them, like the used games thing and the way that they were just saying stuff, it's just like the system has evolved over time. You don't always have to be online to play the system. You know, like PlayStation, you got it. It's the same thing. You don't have to be online, but it's just like you can't play multiplayer and do some things without PlayStation. You know, and it was just like at that time when Xbox One came out and Sunset Overdrive came out, it was just that viewpoint of, you know, I'm playing all my stuff on PlayStation, and you know, hopefully Microsoft will realize their failures and they will fail with the Xbox One. And it's just like, no, I'm like, you're really missing out on some of the great stuff and exclusives that Microsoft has. I mean, it's just that you still have people still have a viewpoint and a resistance to it, and it shouldn't be that way. And I think if people would have would have gave, if people were fans of Insomniac, they would have gave that game a try. If they were going to get an Xbox One and stuff, you know. But it's just like, when we go into this next generation, is it going to be the same thing? Are people going to be mad at Microsoft? Are people going to still?
I don't know how they can be. They've done everything they possibly could to get back into people's stolen graces, you know, or stolen graces, good graces. Sorry, I was doing a robbery mission, and it said it's stolen on the screen, and it just got into my head. But you know, I think that Microsoft is doing a lot to get in good graces with people, especially since Phil Spencer took over. And I know we talk a lot about that, and this is a PlayStation game and a Marvel game and whatever, but like, I really think that Phil has turned that ship around immensely, right? Like, I mean, the Don Mattrick era was just a nightmare, right? And you know, they said we have a console that plays offline. It's called Xbox 360, and you know, that kind of thing. And game sharing wasn't going to be a thing, and it was just this weird thing that, you know, and turning everything around was a monumental task for Phil, and like, you know, him and his team, I should say. I mean, he's kind of the head, so we kind of just say that, but you know, his team also is just. And kudos to Microsoft for backing his ideas too, you know, like it's turning it into a kind of like a services company instead of a you know, a hardware company. Essentially is like a really smart idea. And you know, we're going to be seeing that for a while.
Really hope this works out.
Hopefully, you know, someday we'll be able to play these like games on other platforms too, you know, like
Gotta be Black Cat.
Game Pass on Switch.
Are you jealous I'm visiting my other man?
Well,
I hope so. But you should know
I kind of feel like this with, you know, with this is my thing. I really wasn't digging the PlayStation 4, and I think it's a great system. I have a ton of games for it. I beat some games. I got one platinum for it, and I do some gaming on Xbox One. And I think what sold me on Xbox One over PlayStation 4 when both systems came out is definitely that the Xbox One looked better. Like, from artistic look, you know, I feel like the Xbox One was just like, ooh, I love that design. I love how they got the air vent, and you know, getting my hand on the controller, I'm like, oh, this controller feels so good. Like, it feels way better than the 360. So like, Microsoft events their, you know, kind of events their style and their look in their presentation of their system.
I mean, I think the Xbox One X looks fantastic. And and the S too. I mean, like, they look similar, but since I have an X, like, I think that X looks fantastic.
Yeah, and then I look at PlayStation 4, and everybody has heard me say this. I'm like, this is like a Kit Kat bar. This is the same controller that's just have a couple of refinements. I tried to play Destiny 2 on it, and I'm just like, no. Like, this is hurting my hand and stuff. Like Sony still played it safe. And I think because of all the boo-ha that everybody had with Xbox One, Sony was able to get the sales that they got this generation.
Well,
Not mad at them. They took advantage of it.
Well, plus the PlayStation 4 was $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, $100 is $100. It's 2 games, right? Like, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. And if you can buy a system that, like, you know, and people still had the Xbox stuff, like, you're gonna like choose the cheaper system that you can trade games with your friends on and stuff like that, you know? Like, that's just, I don't know. I think it's just something that a lot of people took to heart. And again, like, I think PlayStation coming out and saying, hey, our system is backwards compatible, which, like, until they said it, I don't think anybody was sure that it was gonna be. You know, like, I mean, no offense to Sony, like I get it, like you want to sell PlayStation 5 games, but like, it's like at this point you have to. You know, it was just really it was just, I was like, man, I'm glad they just kind of got it out of the way and just, brought it up, because that was going to be a really bad look for them if they couldn't get that. So that's just my opinion, though.
But we'll see what PlayStation 5 has to offer. We'll see what Xbox and Anaconda. Because right now, one last thing before we go, the used game thing that like really got people to sell a PlayStation 4. You kind of reflect back on it now, and you see how GameStop is having their troubles, or you know, their situation, and it was just like, and it's just funny to me to be like, used games is one of GameStop's biggest.
I mean, it is their biggest income, right? It's their biggest source of income is used games. Like, that's their whole business model. Well, not their whole business model, but most of it, right? Like, until recently when they bought ThinkGeek and what was that other thing they bought? They bought something else, but I mean, they might as well just buy Funko too, because that whole store is just built on Funko Pop boxes.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to see that people got so upset with the used game stuff, and now people are just like, they're not even thinking about used games. They're kind of buying their games digitally in a sense, and it's just like, you guys made a big stink about this with Xbox. Now that we're kind of like a couple of years into this system life cycle, why are you guys not buying a lot of used games and keeping them and stuff to have, you know, to showcase why used games was important to the PlayStation brand?
I get around.
You know, it's very, very weird. And now that, you know, Xbox has their Xbox S all digital, and they got the Game Pass Ultimate deal, it's just like, it really shows that viewpoint that people had for the system to sell PlayStation 4 has kind of changed and somewhat gone away. So now you can't really say that, oh, I won't use games, when most of the sales that come out from the news are all digital. Yeah. So it's very weird on just given that during the years all that stuff has changed.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot has changed, though, in the last few years, though, in terms of what people think of, you know, digital versus physical, plus, like, supporting the developers, and, like, buying digital gives the developers more of a cut, that type of thing, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of, there's just a lot of factors that have gone into that, you know? I mean, I used to have a huge game collection, and now I'm primarily digital on everything except for, you know, Switch. But, you know, like, plus, like, with day one patches and updates and everything, like, digital is like just, you know, I mean, you look at Shadow of the Tomb Raider, for example. Without that day one patch and that day one update, like, you get a totally different game on the disc than you do like the update. Right?
Yes.
The whole, like, final level of the game is totally different. It's different. You get a different ending. You know?
Yes.
And so, I mean, I think people are. It's a combination of things where, like, you know, I just got Mortal Kombat 11 right on Nintendo Switch.
Consolidated ship.
Had a 20 gig download for the game. Right, the cartridge just has the license on it for the game,
Jeff,
and the whole game is a digital download.
What do you see?
Right, and the cartridge is just the license to the game. So,
territory.
I mean, there's that aspect too. So, I don't know. It's weird, but it's a conversation worth having, which I think we're gonna have on the next episode. I do want to talk about used games and how that market is changing. So,
Yes.
But until then, this has been another episode of Pod and Play Season 4. You can check out our older episodes and future episodes on youtube.com/ngrradio and ngrradio.com. Thank you, Ed, for joining me once again on this adventure that we tend to take about 25 times a year. It's a good time, and you can catch Spider-Man on your PlayStation 4 exclusively. I think with the DLC and everything, it is about $40 now. So
yes,
you can check that out, and you can check out all the other games that we've been playing on this season. So we encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Download our podcasts, including Nerds Gone Rogue, Nerds Gone Platinum, our PlayStation podcast, which if you're watching this, you might find interesting. It's not Ed and I are not on that show regularly, but we do appear from time to time. You can also check out our Xbox show, Arsenal X, and our Nintendo show, Nintendo Pile Block. Check out all of our other content on ngrradio.com, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.